All right, so we're diving into a world where animals talk.
Oh, this is going to be good.
It's going to be good. And pigs become politicians.
Okay.
And a seemingly simple farm becomes a stage for some serious power struggles.
I like it.
That's right. We're taking a deep dive into Chapter 2 of Animal Farm.
Oh, Animal Farm. Okay.
You might think, oh, it's just a cute animal story.
Yeah.
But trust me, beneath the surface lies a tale that's going to make you think about revolution, leadership, and the tricky nature of power.
It's true. Chapter 2 sets the stage for everything that's to come.
Yeah.
Laying out the foundation for some of the most thought-provoking themes in literature.
So to set the scene, we're picking up right where Chapter 1 left off.
Okay.
The wise old pig, Old Major, has just passed away after delivering his fiery speech.
Yes.
Inspiring the animals to dream of a rebellion against their human farmer, Mr. Jones.
Right.
But now the animals are left to figure out, how do they turn this dream into a reality?
Well, what's striking is how quickly they mobilize.
Yeah.
Just 3 months pass between Old Major's death and the actual rebellion.
Wow.
It makes you think about how fast ideas can take root and spread.
Yeah.
Especially when they tap into a deep-seated longing for change.
It's like a wildfire, isn't it?
It is.
And leading the charge are those clever pigs we met in Chapter 1.
Okay.
They're the brains of the operation, the ones who could read and write and really grasp Old Major's vision.
It makes sense that the pigs, with their intelligence, step up as leaders.
Right.
But it's worth noting that this immediately establishes a hierarchy, doesn't it?
Ooh, interesting.
It raises the question of whether intelligence alone qualifies someone for leadership, and if so, what are the potential pitfalls of having a society governed by an intellectual elite?
That's a great point. It's like just because you're smart doesn't necessarily mean you're the best person to call the shots. Yeah.
Exactly. And within this group of pigs, you have some distinct personalities emerging.
Right.
There's Snowball, who's described as vivacious and inventive, always brimming with ideas.
Yeah.
And then there's Napoleon, a large, rather imposing boar who's not afraid to assert his dominance.
Ooh, I see.
And let's not forget Squealer.
Oh, yes, I know.
The master of persuasion who could turn black into white with his smooth talking.
Yes, Squealer.
Yeah.
He's the one who makes you wonder about the power of language.
Right.
How easily it can be used to manipulate and spin narratives, even for a cause that initially seems just, it's something to keep in mind as we see how the pigs use their words to shape the course of the rebellion.
Absolutely. Now, these pigs, they take Old Major's ideas and transform them into a whole system of beliefs called animalism.
Animalism, okay.
They hold secret meetings in the barn, spreading the word and trying to rally the other animals to their cause.
But not all the animals are immediately on board, right?
Well, no.
I mean, imagine trying to convince a bunch of farm animals to overthrow the only life they've ever known.
Yeah, I mean...
That's a tough sell.
It's a tough sell, you're right.
Yeah.
Some animals are hesitant, clinging to their routines and fears.
Right.
They voice their concerns. Mr. Jones feeds us.
Right.
If he were gone, we should starve to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that fear of the unknown.
Oh, I know.
That resistance to change that's so deeply ingrained in us.
And then there's the apathetic ones, like the sheep.
Okay.
Who just bleat, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, without really understanding the complexities of the situation.
Their blind acceptance is almost more unsettling than outright opposition, wouldn't you say?
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like they're willing to follow without question,
Right.
which makes them susceptible to manipulation.
Yeah.
And then you have Molly,
Oh, Molly.
the white mare,
Yes.
who's more concerned about her ribbons and sugar
Yeah.
than any grand ideals of animal liberation.
Molly's concerns, while seemingly shallow,
Yeah.
actually point to a fundamental question.
Okay.
What are we willing to sacrifice for a better future? Are we willing to give up our comforts, our little indulgences for the sake of a greater good?
It's a question that's relevant not just for animals on a farm,
No.
but for anyone who's ever been part of a movement or a revolution, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But perhaps the biggest challenge for the pigs comes from a character who represents a different kind of threat.
All right.
Moses, the tame raven.
Okay.
He tells stories about a magical place called Sugar Candy Mountain,
Sugar Candy Mountain.
where animals go after they die.
Oh, wow.
It's a place of eternal happiness and ease where clover is always in season and lump sugar grows on hedges.
Wow, it sounds like a pretty tempting escape from the hardships of farm life.
Exactly.
Okay.
Moses represents the allure of escapism.
Okay.
The temptation to believe in easy solutions
Mm.
rather than facing the difficult realities of change.
Right.
And the fact that some animals fall for his stories shows just how powerful the desire for comfort and security can be.
So here you have the pigs trying to build a revolution based on reason and action.
Yeah.
And then you have Moses offering a seductive escape from reality.
Right.
It creates this tension
Yes.
between practicality and fantasy, between facing hard truths and seeking solace in comforting illusions.
And that tension is only going to intensify as the story unfolds.
Right.
Yes.
And speaking of things intensifying, the rebellion itself comes about rather suddenly.
It does.
Triggered by a series of events that push the animals to their breaking point.
Yes. Mr. Jones,
Okay.
who was once a competent farmer, descends into a spiral of despair fueled by alcohol and neglect.
Right.
His men become lazy and cruel.
Oh, wow.
The animals are overworked and underfed, and the whole farm falls into a state of disrepair.
It's like a textbook case of how those in power can lose their grip.
It is.
When they become complacent and detached from the needs of those they govern.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the animals, witnessing this decline, begin to see that the power dynamic can be shifted.
Right.
They start to believe that change is not just desirable, but possible.
But what finally sets off the rebellion is a moment of pure desperation.
Okay.
Mr. Jones, in a drunken stupor.
Oh, no.
Forgets to feed the animals for a whole day.
Oh, my gosh.
Imagine their hunger, their frustration.
It's a moment of primal need taking over, a visceral reaction to being deprived of the basic necessities of life.
And that's when a cow,
Yes,
driven by sheer hunger,
right,
breaks into the store shed where the food is kept.
Oh, wow.
Then that act of defiance becomes the spark that ignites the rebellion.
It's fascinating how a seemingly small act, driven by basic survival instincts, can become the catalyst for a massive upheaval. It shows the power of collective action.
Yeah.
How a shared sense of grievance can erupt into a force for change.
So the animals,
Yes.
fueled by hunger and years of pent-up resentment, rise up against Mr. Jones and his men. It's a chaotic scene.
It is.
Filled with animal cries and the sounds of struggle.
It's a moment of pure liberation.
Yeah.
A visceral expression of their desire to break free from their oppression.
And incredibly, they actually succeed.
They do.
They drive Mr. Jones and his men off the farm.
Wow.
Slamming the gate shut behind them.
Great.
A symbolic act of severing ties with their past.
It's a moment of pure exhilaration for the animals. They run around the farm, making sure no humans remain reveling in their newfound freedom. And then comes a truly symbolic act.
Okay.
The destruction of the symbols of their oppression.
Oh.
Bits, chains, whips, everything that represents human control is thrown into a bonfire.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Even Boxer, the gentle giant of a horse, throws his hat on the fire.
Oh, wow.
Symbolizing his complete rejection of the old ways.
It's a powerful visual, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
The burning of those objects represents a cleansing, a purging of the past, a declaration that things will be different from now on.
And in this frenzy of newfound freedom, they make a decision that seems both fitting and foreshadowing.
Okay.
They decide to preserve the farmhouse as a museum.
Oh, okay.
A reminder of the tyranny they've overthrown.
This decision, while seemingly innocuous, actually hints at a potential problem.
Okay.
By preserving the farmhouse, are they not also preserving a symbol of the very power structure they sought to dismantle?
That's a great point. It's like they're trying to erase the past, but also holding on to it in a way.
Exactly. And amidst all this celebration and symbolic destruction, there's a small detail that hints at potential trouble to come. The milk that the cows produced that morning has mysteriously disappeared.
Ooh, that's interesting. It's like a tiny crack in the seemingly perfect facade of this newly liberated animal farm.
And that, my friend, is where we'll leave you hanging for now.
Ooh, a cliffhanger? I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where did the milk go? And what does it mean for the future of Animal Farm?
Oh, I can't wait to find out.
Yeah.
We'll delve into those questions and more in part 2 of our deep dive.
We will.
So stay tuned, because things are about to get really interesting.
Yes, they are.
Welcome back.
back for more.
We're picking up our deep dive into Chapter 2 of Animal Farm.
Okay.
And that missing milk is still swirling around in my head.
Right.
It's like a little puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit with the whole animals are in charge now picture.
You're right to be suspicious. That missing milk is a subtle but significant detail that Orwell plants early on to make us question whether this new society is truly as utopian as it seems.
So while the animals are busy celebrating their newfound freedom and reveling in the symbolic act of destroying all those instruments of human control, what exactly are the pigs up to?
Well, they're not exactly out in the fields sweating alongside the other animals. Remember, they've appointed themselves as the brains of the operation.
The brains?
The ones responsible for organizing and supervising the work.
It's like they've naturally slipped into the role that the humans used to occupy. And this whole idea of the pigs being the brains of the operation, it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does.
Does thinking make you a natural leader?
That's a question that's worth pondering. While intelligence is undoubtedly important, history has shown us time and again that intellectual elitism can be just as dangerous as any other form of tyranny.
Because who decides what's smart or best for everyone else?
Precisely. And in this case, the pigs seem to be assuming that their intellectual superiority gives them the right to make decisions for everyone else. It's a subtle shift in power dynamics that begins to undermine the very principles of equality upon which the rebellion was founded.
And that missing milk becomes a symbol of this subtle shift in power, right?
Absolutely. The fact that the milk has disappeared without any explanation suggests that the pigs are already operating with a sense of entitlement, taking what they believe they deserve without consulting the other animals.
It's like they're saying, we're the thinkers, so we deserve the perk.
Exactly.
Okay.
And as the story progresses, we'll see how this sense of entitlement grows, leading to more and more abuses of power.
So while the other animals are working tirelessly, singing Beasts of England with renewed fervor, believing that they've truly achieved a state of equality, the seeds of doubt have already been sown.
It's a brilliant move by Orwell to plant these subtle clues early on, making us question the true nature of this revolution. It's like watching a play where you know something sinister is lurking beneath the surface, even as the characters on stage remain oblivious.
And speaking of subtle clues, let's talk about those 7 commandments of animalism that are painted so boldly on the barn wall. They seem so straightforward.
They do.
So unequivocally just. But even in this early chapter, we see signs that these commandments might not be as unbreakable as they appear.
You're right. Take, for instance, the commandment, no animal shall sleep in a bed.
No animal shall sleep in a bed.
It seems like a clear rejection of human comforts. Symbol of their commitment to a simpler, more egalitarian way of life.
But then what happens?
Well, as the animals are exploring the farmhouse, they discover Molly, the vain little mare, preening herself in the best bedroom.
Oh, Molly.
Admiring her reflection in the mirror.
Yeah.
She's clearly more attached to the trappings of human luxury than to the ideals of the rebellion.
And the pigs.
Yeah.
Instead of condemning her behavior, simply amend the commandment.
They do.
No animal shall sleep in a bed with sheets.
With sheets, right?
Yeah.
It's such a clever manipulation, isn't it?
It is.
They twist the meaning of the commandment to accommodate their own needs and desires.
It's like saying, rules are for thee, not for me.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this willingness to bend the rules sets a dangerous precedent. It shows that the pigs are already viewing themselves as above the law, which has unsettling implications for the future of Animal Farm.
It makes you wonder if those grand ideals of equality and animal liberation are already starting to crumble under the weight of power and self-interest.
It's a question that will continue to haunt us as we delve deeper into the story. But for now, I think we've unpacked quite a bit from this chapter.
We have, We've seen how quickly a revolution can unfold.
We have.
How power dynamics can shift in subtle ways. And how even the most well-intentioned rules can be manipulated.
We've also seen how easy it is to get caught up in the euphoria of change. To overlook the warning signs that things might not be as they seem.
So as we move on to part 3 of our deep dive,
okay,
I think it's important to keep these questions in mind.
yes.
Because
the missing milk,
right.
the revised commandment,
Yeah.
these are just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh.
The story of Animal Farm is about to take a much darker turn.
Oh, no.
And it's going to force us
Okay.
to confront some uncomfortable truths
Okay.
about human nature.
Yeah.
And the seductive nature of power.
It feels like we've really gotten into some of the deeper ideas here. Exploring Chapter 2 of Animal Farm. Absolutely. It's, we talked about those early days. The revolution, the animal struggles and triumphs and, those hints that things might not be as utopian as they initially seemed.
It's fascinating how Orwell packs so much depth into what appears to be a simple story about animals.
Right.
He makes you think about the complexities of power, the fragility of ideals, and the ways in which language can be used to manipulate and control.
And speaking of language, we've been talking about those 7 commandments of animalism.
Right.
They're supposed to be the bedrock of this new society.
Yes.
The unbreakable laws that guarantee equality and freedom for all animals.
Right, but we've already seen how the pigs, the self-appointed brains of the farm, were willing to tweak one of the commandments to suit their own desires.
Exactly.
That little incident with Molly and the bed sheets was a clear warning sign, wouldn't you say?
Totally.
It showed that the pigs, even at this early stage, are already viewing themselves as above the law, willing to bend the rules to serve their own interests.
Like the revolution was supposed to be about dismantling hierarchies.
Right.
Not creating new ones.
Precisely. And this raises a fundamental question.
Okay.
Can any revolution truly escape the pitfalls of power? Is it inevitable that those who seize power will eventually become corrupted by it?
Ooh, that's a heavy question.
Yeah.
And it's one that Orwell explores with such depth and nuance in Animal Farm.
He doesn't offer easy answers.
Right.
But he definitely makes you think.
Yeah, I think one of the key takeaways from this chapter, especially for someone new to the book, is to pay close attention to how those 7 commandments are invoked and interpreted as the story unfolds.
Because they're not just words on a wall, are they?
No, they're not.
They become tools that the pigs use to shape the narrative of the rebellion, to justify their actions, and to maintain their control over the other animals.
And this is where Squealer, with his gift for persuasive rhetoric, really comes into play.
Yeah.
He becomes the mouthpiece of the pigs, the one who spins their actions, no matter how self-serving, into something noble and necessary.
Like he can convince the other animals that black is white, up is down.
Exactly.
And that 2 + 2 = 5
if
it serves the pig's agenda.
And this manipulation of language is one of the most insidious and effective forms of control.
It is.
Makes you question everything you see and hear.
Right.
Just like the animals on Animal Farm are forced to question their own perceptions of reality.
So for a listener who's just starting their journey into this thought-provoking world, what would you say is the most important thing to keep in mind as they continue reading?
I would say pay close attention to the dynamics between the pigs and the other animals.
Yes.
Notice how the pigs use their intelligence, their control over language, and their positions of authority to manipulate and exploit the other animals.
And don't be fooled by those seemingly straightforward 7 commandments.
Exactly.
Those commandments become a smokescreen.
Right.
A way for the pigs to mask their true intentions and maintain their grip on power.
Well, it sounds like things are about to get really intense on Animal Farm.
They are, but it's a journey worth taking.
Yeah.
Because Animal Farm, despite its seemingly simple premise, offers profound insights into the nature of power, the dangers of blind obedience, and the importance of critical thinking.
Well, this has been a great deep dive.
It has.
Into Chapter 2 of Animal Farm.
Yeah.
I know I learned a lot.
Me too.
And I hope our listeners did too.
I hope so too.
So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.